So let's jump right into the help video for quiz 5.07. Here's your need to know info. This whole quiz is dealing with area and volume. And it's just some real world application problems. And so I went ahead and pulled your formula sheet. Most of these formulas are on your formula sheet. The only one that's not on there is the area of a trapezoid. Should have labeled that, oops. And so I'm going to provide that to you here. You just take your base plus base, divide it by 2, and then you multiply it by your height. All right. Every other formula that you need to know for this quiz is on your formula sheet. So let's check out the first example. Mariko, hope I said that right, I don't know, has a bedroom wall that is in the shape of a trapezoid with a height of 8, a top base of 10, and a bottom base of 13. So let's just go ahead and draw ourselves a trapezoid. The height, remember height is always perpendicular to the base. So the height is 8, the top base is 10, and the bottom base is 13. Then it says in the middle of the wall is a circular window. So we have a circle in the middle of the wall with a radius of 2. What is the area of the wall without the circle? So we want to know the area of all of this yellow part, just not the circle. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the area of the trapezoid, then we're going to find the area of the circle, and then we're going to subtract them. So let's start with the area of the trapezoid. We need to do the base plus the base, so 10 plus 13. Then we need to divide that by 2, and then we need to multiply it by the height. So let's go ahead and do that. 10 plus 13 is 23. 23 divided by 2 is 11.5. And 11.5 times 8 is 92. And that's in feet squared. So that's the area of the whole trapezoid. Now we're going to go and we're going to find the area of this circle. So we have pi times radius squared. Does it say to use? Yeah, use 3.14 for pi. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in 3.14. My radius is 2, and I want to square that. So 3.14 times 2 squared is 12.56 feet squared. And I want to get rid of that 12.56. This whole circle right here represents 12.56 feet squared, but I don't want that. It wants to know the area of the wall without the window. So to figure that out, we're going to take our 92 and we're going to subtract off that 12.56. And so I got that the area without the window is 79.44 feet squared. All right, a cylindrical container, which is a cylinder, but anyways, it'll be used to collect oil. It has a circumference of 15.5 inches and a height of 8 inches. Which estimate best approximates the amount of oil the container can hold? Geez, you would think I could read, but I'm putting my own words in there. Okay, so we have this cylindrical container, and we want to know ultimately how much it can hold, which is the volume. So to finish out the problem, we want to figure out the volume of the cylinder. But first we need to know all of our pieces. All right, we do know the height is 8. But what we don't know yet is the radius. What it gives us is the circumference is 15.5. So we can plug that into our circumference formula. And since we're trying to find the radius, I'm going to plug it into the circumference formula that uses the radius. So I'm going to start off by plugging in my circumference, 15.5, into this formula. So I plugged it in for C, equals 2 times, now it doesn't necessarily tell us to use 3.14, so I'm going to leave it as pi for right now. 2 times pi times r. Well, you know what? I changed my mind. It wants to know the best estimate. So I'm not going to get an exact answer. I'm going to be estimating. So I'm going to go ahead and change that pi to a 3.14. Because either way, we're going to end up rounding our answer to get the best estimate. All right, so I'm going to try to solve this for the radius. 2 times 3.14 is 6.28. And if I want to get the radius by itself, I need to divide each side by 6.28. So I get that the radius is approximately, and it's a long decimal, so 2.468. So I'm going to call it 2.47. Now that I know the radius is approximately 2.47, I can figure out how much it can hold. I can figure out the volume by plugging everything into my volume formula. So I'm going to use pi times the radius squared times the height. I'm typing this in my calculator. You might be able to hear it. And so when I did it, I got approximately 153.25. But again, we are estimating. We're just trying to get the best approximate amount. So the closest thing to that would be 150 inches cubed. So for that one, we took the circumference, we solved it for the radius, and then we plugged it into our volume formula. A rectangular garden plot is 18 feet long and 12 feet wide. The owner of the garden wants to plant tomato plants in the plot, and each plant needs a space of approximately 2 by 2. Which estimate best approximates the number of tomato plants that can be planted? All right, so we have this plot here that's 18 by 12. So the entire area, I'm going to go ahead and figure out the entire area of the whole thing would be 12 times 18, which is 216. So this area is 216 feet squared. But each tomato plant needs a 2 by 2 piece of the plot. So I'm going to go ahead and find the area of that little one. So the area that each plant needs is 4 feet squared. So if each plant needs 4 feet squared and the total area is 216, what we can do is we can take that total and we can divide it out by what each one needs to figure out approximately how many plants we could fit in there. So we're going to take our total area and divide it by how much each plant needs to see how many we can fit. And when I divide, I get 54. Now again, it just wants the best approximate answer or the best estimate, so we can fit about 50 tomato plants in there. All right, a volcano in the approximate shape of a cone has a diameter of 16 kilometers and a height of 1.95 kilometers. What estimate best approximates the volume of the cone? All right, so we have our volume formula. Volume equals 1/3 pi times radius squared times height. We know the height, so I'm going to plug that in. And then we know the diameter. Do not plug diameter in for radius. We need to take that diameter of 16 and we need to turn it into a radius by dividing it by 2. So the radius that we're going to plug in is 8. Be really careful not to plug in the diameter. And since we're trying to just get an estimate or an approximate answer, I'm going to go ahead and plug in 3.14. And then I'm going to type it all in my calculator. I like to do 3.14 times 8 squared times 1.95 and then divide by 3. Oops, what did I just do? I said it and then I cleared out my calculator. So when I type in this in my calculator, I get approximately 130.624, which is about 130 kilometers cubed. All right, y'all, good luck on this quiz.